energy talk here, live on Skype and live on YouTube as well. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy coach, a transformational coach, and I'm going to say a few words about this today because the topic of the day is change. Many of you know that I don't just talk about energy, so energy talk is just a small part of my work. I really actually work those energies for people individually or in groups. We have a whole program every month that's aligned to collective energies where we work with these energies that are coming in. What are energies? They are like these things that we pick up on, especially as energetically sensitives and empaths, that affect our life, but that often cause difficulties because we're not really sure what is ours, what isn't, and it's hard to talk to other people about it, which is why I love this format where we discuss these energies, where we discuss these things together and find and build the energetic literacy. And I want to put this into perspective with why this is actually one of the most important tools that we all need to learn in times like this. We are living in times where we're dealing with less and less survival issues, with the exception of the pandemic. I'm going to comment on that here in a few moments, where the biggest issue in our life is actually a perception issue. And in the past, with these forecasts that I do, I've often called this a perception war. What does this mean? It means that we are under the influence of strong sort of outer projections and morals and viewpoints and perspectives that affect our life, some of which are obviously influenced by social media, for example, internet and media altogether. We are all aware of this. So that's the bigger sort of setting for this. But there's also an energetic cycle, an energetic rhythm here, and that has to do with some unknowns, some knowns, so lunar cycle, for example, planetary things for the astrologers among you. Those aren't really a secret, though. Those are things that affect us as humans in our psyche, in our decisions, pretty much on a day-to-day level, even though we're not always aware of them. Then there are these aspects that happen in our personal life that affect our decisions and our well-being and our moods and our health and so forth on this very personal level. And when things change, when there is a transformation going on, it's very difficult sometimes for us to pinpoint where this change is taking place and also what these action steps are that we could do toward that, or, quite frankly, what needs to be changed. All right. And the reason why I call times like this perception war has to do with how free we are in getting to that place that we can make a good choice. We are not free these days, even though we have less on the 3D physical to contend with, so it appears. We have all these morals and these bigger sort of things in the back of our minds, that we have to consider nowadays. Back in the days, like say even just 100 years ago, 150 years ago, we could care less if there was something going on in a different country. We didn't even know about it. We could care less, about greater sort of pandemics or, scientific developments. We didn't know about them. So we had less distraction as far as making decisions. And therefore, it was much easier for us to pinpoint what needs to be changed. So the bigger setting here is, and I think nobody will dispute this, is that we are in a highly transformational time right now where values, viewpoints, perspectives, everything changes by the minute. And it has become so hard to see through all this that a lot of things that we are observing don't really make sense to us anymore. So life used to be real simple when it was just about what to decide when it was just about the decision, what you want to have for dinner, or what's the crop that you want to seed out for the next year, or, what's the weather going to be like today. Okay, we have all these different distractions and interferences that come into our lives, some of which are unconscious to us, and some of which are things that we engage in, like such as social media, for example. Now, this isn't going where you think it's going, and this isn't about, proving that technology is bad for us. It's actually part of our karmic task, so to speak, to investigate that and to go through these technological transformations and learn how to use these tools right. Yeah, for example, it wouldn't be possible for us to do what we're doing right now if it wasn't for the internet, if it wasn't for social media. Yeah, so let's not forget that. So there's also advantages in that, and it helps us to connect. But at this point also, brings in a lot of confusion. If I look at these energy sessions that we have done here in the last couple of days, which all had to do with the equinox, it had to do with, how can we shield ourselves from things? How can we discern better? How can we decouple from this, the collective experience? Yeah, and what does this mean to us as true selves? I see one big thread here, and that has to do with this confusion. We all feel that there are big changes right now. But most of us don't actually know what changes and how we can contribute or what we need to change. So there's a part of me, that knows that when I make these predictions and these forecasts and I say, well, this is the time to seed out your seeds, and this is the time where you visualize. I mean, if you can imagine it, it can become reality, and blah blah blah. It's sort of the cheerleader, right, that wants to motivate you to step into your reality and to become an active participant in your life. I recognize that this can also create a lot of pressure for you. Who of you, be honest, feels a little pressured by this? And not maybe just me saying this, maybe others too, but like this feeling something big is going on, and oh my God, she said I need to do something about it. She said I need to have a vision. I need to change something. What is it? Oh my God. Yeah. Yes, there's quite a few of you. And who of you feels this anxiety about this, or even performance pressure? Like, what if I don't change anything? Am I going to lose the train? Am I going to be left behind? Am I not going to be part of this big transformational movement? Yes, guys, I understand. But you have to understand on which level that is taking place. In order to find solutions, in order to make good decisions, in order to make good choices for your life and the greater good, if you will, you're going to have to be able to pinpoint where these confusions are, yeah, and how they could be addressed. What is shining through when you get pulled into this performance pressure, this anxiety, this like, oh my God, what level is that taking place? Where in you is this triggering you? What is that actually informing you about? Yeah, fear, okay, but is this a fear that is coming in from the outside? Is this a fear that is coming from within yourself? What does it remind you of? I mean, what kind of fear is that? There's like probably 8,000 descriptors of fear. A fear is a state, okay? I agree that the state that is being triggered in you is fear. But what is it actually in you when you think of, oh my God, am I going to miss the train? Am I not going to be part of this big transformation? What if I'm too late? Yeah, fear of abandonment. Yes, Charlize, so you're right. That's an element of that. What else? Go a little deeper here. What's underneath that pressure that you're feeling there? It's a confusion, right? It's a confusion, really. So I want to show you that this is a problem of perception, but we first have to investigate the nature of what is being triggered in you. Without knowing what is being triggered in you, you have no chance of doing anything about it or changing it. You have to know what you need to change. And my theory is, my hypothesis is that you're being set up to not know, yeah, to have that confusion right now because it's all entangled. So what in you is being triggered here? The fear of not belonging. Yeah, that's the fear of abandonment. The fear of being alone. What else? Keep going. There's more levels to this, guys. What about the fear of not living up to your highest potential? Anybody feels that fear? Yeah. What about the fear of life just passing by? Yeah, sort of running through your hands and you not being able to be an active participant. The fear of life just happening to you. The fear of just being sort of a bystander. You may not have that as a conscious thought process, but you know, when people come to me and they really had enough and they want to make a change, all right, that's the first thing that comes up. It's the first thing they say. It's like, I look back on my life and I'm like, I don't even know what happened here. It feels like life is happening to me. Yeah, it feels like I'm not in charge. And it feels like, you know, I've missed the train. I have lots of regrets and they are frustrating me to a point where I don't even know if it even makes sense. Yes, Kamo. The fear of not doing what I want, of being trapped, yeah. Do you feel the depths of this, guys? Okay, so now let me ask you a typical coaching question. Do you think that life can actually happen to you without you being involved? Is this actually a possibility? You know, I used to have this, I have problems with punctuality, okay? I openly admit this. And whenever there's a reservation at a restaurant, okay, I really freak out because I'm always late, right? And there was something that somebody reminded me of. They said, Jona, what are you freaking out about? The dinner can't happen without you. The eating doesn't happen without you. Okay, there's nothing you can miss out on here. Yeah, for you to have dinner at that restaurant, you are the main person. You have to be there, okay? In other words, there's nothing you can miss out on. If you come late, well, then you just start later. But you're not going to miss out on the food. I don't know if this was a good example, but you understand what I'm saying. Life cannot happen without you guys. Life happens here and now. It happens every single moment, every single second of your life. Life is a series of choices. And yes, there's a sort of an autopilot choice that you can make, which we would call conformism. Lately, conformism has also been, you know, getting some other characteristics, such as wokeism. Yeah. It's no longer good enough, yeah, to be aware of things. You have to be aware of everything now. Okay. So if you actually tune into what it is from a societal standpoint that you're supposed to heed, that you're supposed to think, okay, you cannot say anything about ethnic things. You cannot say anything about gender. You cannot say anything about politics. You cannot say anything about religion or energies, spirituality. You cannot say anything about science. You cannot say anything about you know, things, life views and so forth, that may offend somebody else, even if that somebody else is a minority. So our range of choices is slowly becoming smaller. Do you guys feel that? Now it's not enough to just be punctual at a restaurant. You also have to comply with other things. Yeah. And if you don't, then you're a bad person. Yeah. Or you can be canceled. Yeah. So I'm being a little sarcastic here, and obviously I'm using exaggeration to show things. Why am I calling these times perception wars? Because it messes with the way you think, the way you see things, the perspectives, the views, and your own ability to discern what is true and good for you. I think we can all agree on that. We just went through 2 years of pandemic, which were highly controversial, yeah, to the point that it actually threatened our own physical health. Not just the virus itself, but everything around it, yeah. And with it, the censoring and the restrictions and all the mandates and so forth that came with this. And now, you know, there's a new sort of, sorry, thing that we're supposed to heed. Pandemic is no longer actually in the forefront, right? Within the last 2 weeks, all the confusion about the vaccines and the pandemic and the virus and the variants and blah, blah, blah got replaced. All of a sudden, it's almost like public opinion decided that Corona isn't a topic anymore, isn't a thing anymore. We got a new thing now, World War III. And maybe for others, along with that, the collapse of the financial system and stuff like that. Yes, Kamal, it's like our choices are being eroded away. Yeah. And anyone who feels that, anyone who has a little bit of a confliction about this, is on the right track here. Because this is the problem that we're all having right now. This is the reason why we're so confused. We no longer know what is good for us. We no longer what we can and can't do. We no longer know who we are. Because guess what? With every choice, we're also expressing who we are, right? And if our choices get reduced and reduced and reduced more and more, what happens is that we, us, become reduced. Our ability to express ourselves becomes reduced. We are being reduced. And that is what needs to change. That is what this big transformation is about, guys. This isn't about, you know, you needing to change to go to the gym more often or eat better food. Yeah, it is too, as well. For your own sake, out of your own integrity, out of listening to your inner guidance and doing what is healthy, what is sustainable, what is desirable for you, what you truly need and what you truly want. But that's your personal business. The change that I'm referring to is a bigger one. It has to do with changing your mindset, changing your perspective, changing the way you make decisions, changing the way you see the world and yourself. And if you don't do that, if you just sort of go on autopilot, you are becoming silently complicit with this reduction of yourself. With the reduction of freedom, the reduction of truth, and the reduction of love in your life. And that is what needs to be changed. It is the way you see yourself and the world and yourself in it. And that's why I use all these terms such as discernment. I'm not talking about right and wrong. You'll never hear a political opinion or anything like that from me. I'm not in that business. I'm not in the business of handing out fish for free. I am in the business of teaching people how to fish. How to fish the best choice for themselves so that, what's the higher alignment here? That they can move toward the higher expression. And that includes healing things of the past, reconciling, harmonizing, bringing more balance, and first and foremost, bringing more truth, more freedom, and more love into their lives, into their everyday decisions. And how am I doing this as a transformational coach, as an energy coach? By helping them shift their perspective, by helping you to see yourself in a different way. Not as a, I mean, I can go as far as like multidimensional being, and I teach that too, but not here in this context. In this context, and my articles and all my videos and workshops have to do with adding dimensions, adding levels of understanding yourselves, not restricting existing ones. Yes, we have a physical 3D reality. Yes, we have an emotional reality that has to do with, what is desirable for us, what we want, and what we go for, also where our passion is. And we have a cognitive reality, what is reasonable, what makes sense. But then we also have a spiritual reality, guys. And that has to do with how we see ourselves as humans, wanting to be a good human, wanting to do things that help others, that serve the greater good. Those are spiritual values, guys. Yeah. They determine how you see yourself. And then I'm adding yet another component to that, and that's the energetic, the etheric component, which is mostly in the unseen for people out here. And that has to do with how harmonious is something, how congruent is something, how healing is something. Does it lead me to it fulfilling my soul task? Does it help me to resolve and undo karma? These are the even higher. This is a different perspective, even less physical. And coming back to these cycles and rhythms that I mentioned at the beginning, it shows you the greater cycle, the bigger goal, the goal behind the goal. Yeah. Because is your goal in life to just survive your life? No. What are your goals in life, guys? The bigger goals. Maybe somebody wants to talk. We'll put it into the chat here. What's the goal behind the goal for you? What's this truly about? Life, relationships, connection, what we are doing here, career choices, having children or not, legacy. Okay, expression of what? Of what, Becky? What do you want to express? See, on a spiritual level, I call this the promise that you make to your higher self and the divine. Tina, for you, it's to express your highest potential from now on. What a beautiful goal. To express my talents, skills, and what I can bring into 3D. Okay? Great goal. Tina's adding to her goal by trying different things. Yeah, so there is a higher perspective here already. Yeah, because who's talking about performance? Who's talking about right or wrong, right? This isn't even part of that perspective. Your highest expression, that's your highest expression. Who decides what your highest expression is? Social media? Your parents? Your partner? Your bank account? How is that being measured, guys? How do you know that you are moving toward your highest higher expression? How do you know that? How can you know? This is where your confusion is, guys. This is why you don't know what to do. This is why you don't know what to change. Because you forgot what the goal is. How can you tell? How do you know that you are moving, or how can you ensure that you are moving toward your higher expression, guys? What are the benchmarks of that? How other people are doing in comparison to you? Really? When the people at the neighbor table arrived at the restaurant? Sometimes you get to food faster than people who've been there longer. I'm just trying to bring a little lightness into this here. How do you know? How can you make sure? How do you make choices that are leading you to your higher expression? Do you want me to give you the answers? Why aren't you spouting it out? Okay, Tina says, it's uplifting. I'm not going to give you the answers, guys. I can't. That would be unethical and non-integrous. I feel my energy expand. I feel it. It's an inner knowing. Yes, very nice, Becky. You're referring to something like an inner feeling, like an inner confirmation, something that we often call congruence. It feels congruent. It feels like it's matching up with your alignment. And a negative way to describe that is, if you wanted to show to yourself that, this is a good choice, is if you check on how much conflict does it produce in you. So when you're moving toward your higher expression, when you are in congruence with your greater goal, then you will feel less, if not no, conflict or doubt in you. Who of you is in an almost constant state of doubt, fear, and uncertainty about what to do next, about how to do things, about whether to stay or to leave, whether, to start something new? Go ahead.
Jona, it's Carmel here. How are you?
Hey, Carmel. Good.
I have to say that I'm a little bit niggly at the moment with all, and it's really all the external stuff, hearing other people's opinions about things, and I get a little bit niggly on that, because it it tends to cloud my view of things, or how I want to see things.
What people? You have to discern here.
Okay. That it will be people that I actually are with, whether it's family or friends, associates, and it's hearing their
commentary,
concerns and things like
their
that.
concerns. Okay.
Yeah. And then it gives me doubt. It puts me in a position of doubt at times.
Right. If you investigate the nature of their concerns or their doubts that they're sharing with you, let's just say it in a very neutral way. What's the nature of their concerns? Where, on what level, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, energetic level are they expressing their opinions or their views or their concerns?
I'd say it's probably on all of those levels.
Can you give us an example, Kamal?
Yeah, if they go to church on a Sunday and the Bible says that, this new world order is all going to come in and we're all going to be under the one, I suppose, hierarchy. I don't want to believe in that. I don't want to see that as the only option.
What perspective is that? On what level is that? What level is that referring to? What level of being and experiencing life?
I'm going to say day-to-day life.
No, wait. No, I mean the church says that something like the devil is taking over. Is that how I need to understand what you just said? As an example. Yeah. Okay, so let's just take that as a statement. Okay, so there's a viewpoint like, the devil is taking over, and we're all gonna become like you said,
controlled.
Living under well, okay, all right. So that is a spiritual viewpoint.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it contextualizes life and the world from a spiritual point of view. It's a specific one. It's a religious one that follows a specific teaching, but it is this is a spiritual viewpoint, right? Because it doesn't actually address the physical part of that, or the emotional, or the rational part.
Yeah, correct.
So what meaning does it have for you? Somebody says, this is apocalypse. The devil is taking over. We all gonna, perish, or we all gonna be
controlled. We're all going to,
All right. So what does this do to you?
It actually, it really bothers me that I suppose people, it's not, I don't like to have that view on things, and it just really bothers me because it starts to cloud and bring in doubt for myself.
Well, it's pretty black and white, right? It's pretty black and white, and it's actually not very differentiated either. Because, what does that mean? This is what a conscious energy manager needs to follow, that train of thoughts. You need to investigate that. What does it mean? I mean, when people tell me this, I always ask them, well, okay, so, all right, what does it mean then if we are all controlled? And then they say something, and then I'm like, oh, this sounds like it's already going on. Because I already feel controlled. I already feel surrounded by dark forces. I personally already see that. So what are you telling me here? Yeah. So
I suppose it's
it's a specific viewpoint on a specific level that may or may not be true. It's not relevant, really, when you put this into context with your higher expression. Yeah. So how does that, you say you doubt yourself. Okay, well, wait. You're here, you're a conscious soul self. You're hard warrior at that. Yeah. an old hat for you, Como.
I know.
That there are dark forces out there trying to get us. I'm joking about this, guys. This is reality testing, okay? Yes, there are dark forces out there, but it doesn't mean what people imply. You have to think this all the way to the end. You need to detangle that. Okay, so okay. So there's people that have awoken now to the fact that there might be things going on in the background that they didn't see before, right? Because just a few years ago, they thought everything's hunky-dory. Well, that's what that means. Why does this cause doubt in you, hon?
I suppose it's a little bit of doubt and annoyance, because there are certain things that I want to do, and I feel that I try not to read the papers or listen to the news or things like that, because that really, I get a little bit shitty on those things.
Yeah. No, spell it out. What does it make you feel? I mean, use other words than niggly and shitty.
Angry, because I feel like they're trying to reduce the things that I want to do. I want to get out there and travel. And,
they're literally telling you, you know what? It's not even worth trying. So whatever it is that you're trying to do there, going into your highest expression and such, it's going to be doomed to fail because dark forces are taking over. That's literally what they're saying.
Yes.
I mean,
that is.
How sophisticated is a statement like that?
Not.
And in fact, how dark is it actually?
Very.
Yes, because it drives a person in you, it triggers in you anxiety.
Yeah.
That, oh my God, if the world's going to go under tomorrow, I need to take care of what my dinner. I need to make sure I have dinner until tomorrow, right? I need to focus on other things than my higher expression. Who cares about my higher expression, right? I'm not going to exist long enough to do higher expression. That's what it does to us.
Yes, and because
So
I want to travel and go places.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, oh, sorry, you can't travel because of. Can you get into that country? Can you get onto the plane? And it's sort of like, bloody hell. Yeah, that's why I get niggly.
So, because the world is going to go under tomorrow, you can't go to Iceland in June.
Exactly. And then,
how sophisticated is that?
Not very.
It's like me thinking, if I am 5 minutes late to the restaurant, I'm not going to get anything to eat.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really why I'm really angry at the moment, is because I just see this crud in the paper, like, you won't be able to get onto the plane here, or you actually might not be able to get into that country. For goodness sake.
And maybe we're going to have World War III until then, and probably also another variant of Corona, and the monetary system is going to collapse until then. So why do you even bother trying to expand your horizon and doing something like traveling and something like, connecting with other people? Yeah. You see, this is the nature. So I'm using sarcasm here, guys, to loosen this up a little bit. But what I'm getting at here is your ability to discern through really investigating what you're being told, what you're being spoon-fed with. Okay. Yeah, that's what needs to be changed. If this is somebody else's opinion or view, it's fine. But just because that is coming in, it doesn't mean that you have to come to the same conclusion. Yeah, that you contextualize it the same way as the other person. Maybe it serves as a justification or an excuse for another person not to make choices that lead them toward the higher expression, because that's really what it is. A lot of people will, and this is very uncomfortable when this happens, when you become aware of this, even loved ones will almost like try to hinder you on expanding, on moving into more happiness and moving into more freedom and your higher expression, because think about it. because they're telling themselves a narrative why they can't do it. And if they can't do it, based on that narrative, based on that mindset that they have, yeah, because World War, Corona, monetary, dark forces, blah, 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 Mercury retrograde, blah, blah, yeah, then you can't either. And what happens sometimes is that we must experience our own, friends and family and so forth, almost like trying to prevent us from doing the things that are right or good for us. So with that, you can see what in us it is that needs to be trained and that needs to be empowered. What is it? Come
on. Gosh, that's self, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Standing
choice. It's
Yep.
that choice. Yeah, standing for yourself. Yeah.
Yep.
That choice, you have to know what that choice is. You have to be absolutely conscious about what it is that you're choosing. You know you're up against the majority of people here, not in a personal way, but the collective itself, yeah, is right now providing disadvantageous conditions because it keeps on feeding fear and uncertainty and doubt. Bud, as they call this, sure, which means that works against you. Yeah, so the outer condition is working, is not conducive for you, with the exception of maybe some people. Where do you find support? Where do you find empowerment? Like, say, besides places like this here, but describe the nature of people that are actually empowering for you, that you perceive as good to have around you in times like this.
That would be the ones I know that there are a couple of feeds that I follow on Facebook, and the reason I follow those particular people is I know they do their research before they post, and they say, you do your own research. So I kind of like those people.
Okay, people who are more neutral,
Yes.
who don't condemn and who don't go into this immediate judgment. Okay, but
yeah,
no, go a step deeper here. All of you guys. Who are the people that you perceive as empowering? Who are the people who don't, the few, who don't make you feel more uncertain, more fearful, and more doubtful? It's a very specific kind of person. Annette is saying empaths, not necessarily. In my experience and in my professional experience working with empaths, they're the most confused. You find something there, and that is they feel the same way as you do, but they have even harder time with making that kind of choice. Because they're also more confused. Someone who knows who they are and who are in balance. Yes, Cheryl. Someone who is actively doing that, who is actively moving toward the higher expression, outspokenly, like-minded. People who do the same thing. So this is logic, guys. Where do you find support? In people who proclaim, oh, the world is going to go under, we're all doomed, dark forces are taking over. The financial system is going to collapse. Are you going to find support there? We're in perception war, guys. These people really see it that way because they've been taken over already. They already believing that there is no point in trying. You will only find support in people who are withstanding that, more or less. Yeah, there's days where it's hard, even for the strongest person to withstand that. But somebody who consciously chooses to see themselves as more, not more or better as in better than others, but more, not just a cog in the machine. Someone who is actively trying their best to move to the higher expression. And that means that we have to include all these false perceptions, all these illusions, all these narratives and judgments and programming, yes, and childhood trauma and karma, all that. Yes, we have to augment the way we see ourselves. We cannot just see ourselves as a physical machine being, okay? We also have emotions, and we also have a mind that needs to be in peace, and we also have a spiritual alignment. And we're also an energetic being. And that's how we make conscious choices. By seeing the bigger picture, guys. If you look at the Ukraine crisis right now, in the small picture of what is being displayed in the mainstream media right now, which I can tell you is 100% false perception, okay? And not because of all the pictures are wrong. I mean, some pictures are wrong. That's already proven they're tempered with. They're like from 5, 6 years old. No, because you're not seeing the larger context here. This is a conflict that has been going on for 140, 150 years. This is about something much bigger. There are bigger cycles that are going on, and if you take things out of context, then they can appear differently. Yeah. So if I take my social value system, in my social value system, it's bad to be late. That makes me a bad person, and I should feel guilty about that. Okay. But the reality is, with that example that I used with the restaurant, well, it's also for me, right? I mean, I'm going to a restaurant to have a nice meal. Okay. Without me, it can't really take place. Without you choosing to live your life in a conscious way, your life isn't really taking place. And all I'm really saying is that in order to become able to make conscious choices and conscious changes, you have to augment the way you see yourself. Don't ever reduce yourself. Because this is the silent complicity here. We are allowing the narratives and the perception war stuff and the tampering with our way of thinking and feeling to reduce ourselves. And that's what makes you angry, Carmel. It should. Because unless you consciously agree to that, yeah, are you okay with everything that you think, every pictures that you see in your head, every emotions that you have, and also the health state of your body and the spiritual way to see things, yeah, how you understand yourself as a human being, as a spirit being, and the way you feel like you're in control of your own energies. Are you okay? Do you agree with that being tempered with and that being controlled from the outside? Who of you agrees to that?
No.
All right. Problem solved. Conscious change made. or conscious choice made. So what do you need to change now? Well, some of the changes you've already mentioned here. You don't listen to mainstream media. Good choice. All right, one down. What else? Don't do things that are unhealthy or not sustainable for you in the long run. It's a physical reality. Don't do things that you don't want, that are not desirable, that do not go with your true heart's desire. Don't do things that don't make sense to you. Don't do things that are not reasonable. That said, doesn't mean that all your choices have to be rational only. No, but they have to make sense to you. Otherwise, you are living a life in continual cognitive dissonances and free-floating anxiety. They have to be congruent with how you see yourself as a human being. If you believe that we all have something like a soul self, something like a higher expression, if you believe that it's our job, our promise, our first priority, to ourselves and the divine source and so forth, to move into this higher expression, okay, you can resolve a lot of problems in your life. All these problems with relationships and infringement and all this kind of stuff where people are trying to tell you how to live your life or what's best for you. From a spiritual point of view, that's absolutely unethical. And if you add the energetic component to that, guys, then you even see the actual danger of that. It's not just unethical, it's just not the right thing to do. It is absolutely dangerous to externalize your powers. So when it comes to change, what needs to be changed, guys, is the way you see yourself, the way you see the world, and yourself in it. It's your perspective that needs to be changed. And when you change your perspective, your perception changes. And when you change your perception, your choices change, your options, and you'll see that you have a lot more freedom, that is much more expanded as opposed to more reduced, that you have a lot more choices than you thought you had. That is the level on which this huge, big collective transformation is taking place. It is about us changing the way we see ourselves. And guess what, guys? It's going into a greater and more expansive direction. Maybe not right now, because right now it feels like it's getting worse before it can get better, and it's true. But we've discussed this at length, and there's a lot of videos here on my channel that help you understand this better. Why we humans have to hit rock bottom, why we learn 2.5 times better through failure and through what doesn't work than through our higher goals. The overall tendency, guys, is that we are moving into a higher level of consciousness, and that we are now, through all the stuff that doesn't work and all the stuff that goes down the drainer, are reminded on how to make more conscious choices. And that is this activation, download, blah, blah, that is happening in all of us. If we don't change anything right now, we're going to get sucked into that drain. Mm-hmm. But it's your choice. You have a lot of choices. So come on, don't get niggly, don't get angry. That's all a waste of energy. Just remind yourself who you are and what you're doing here. And if you can, some of you can, feel back into what you came here for. Yeah. So these are my 2 cents here as to how to contextualize change and what it actually is that we need to change. Yeah, let me know maybe in the comments what your opinion is, how you feel about this sort of, mind-boggling or, kind of disruptive way of thinking that I'm introducing to you here. Yeah, we call this higher thinking. Yeah, it has to do with applying higher vibratory perspectives. And then you'll find that you're actually immune to all of this. Yeah, and you recognize how all these poor souls that cannot discern yet because they never learned those tools are literally falling for it, believing that that's the right thing, and you can't judge them for it. We should never judge anyone for falling for things. Yeah. We have to understand that for as long as we don't stand for anything, we can get swept away by everything. So what needs to be changed? One more time. Your understanding of yourself. And with it, your stance, your confidence, your courage, and the bigger perspective. Your willingness, your perseverance, you understanding how big this is and how important it is right now to do your thing. Come out of the woodwork and present yourself to the world in your light. And here, for the doubters among you, hey, if the world's going to go under anyway, what's the point? There's nothing to lose, right? At least you die trying. All right, that's my sarcasm. Okay, I hope you can understand this humor. I love you guys. If you guys want to know a little more about April energies and how this contextualizes with yourself, quick reminder, Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern US time, the energetic tune-up session. I only do this once a month. It sends these collective energies of the next 4 to 6 weeks through your system and informs you, and you can actually experience this for yourself, what it is that you need to focus on, what it is that you need to change. Yeah, and I do this in this live session through a combination of energy session and webinar. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having you guys there, and maybe that's something new you want to try. See you.